The gift in the glade. Eli had never seen a planet like this before. His ship crashed 2 days ago. It was supposed to be a routine survey mission. But a sudden storm in the upper atmosphere ripped his controls apart. He barely survived. Now he walked through thick, glowing trees with no food and little water. His leg was bleeding and his lips were dry. The sky above him shifted in strange colors like a living painting. Birds without wings floated through the air, singing in a language he couldn't understand. His steps slowed. His head felt heavy. Just when he thought he'd collapse, he saw her. She stood in a small clearing between the trees. A girl. Not human, not fully. Her skin was smooth and silver blue, glowing softly in the dim light. Her eyes were large, deep violet and full of something he couldn't name. She didn't speak. She only looked at him. Then she turned and disappeared into the trees. Eli followed, not because he trusted her, but because he had no choice. After a few minutes, the trees opened into a quiet glade. Flowers glowed gently along the edges. A clear stream ran through the middle. It felt safe, peaceful. The girl knelt near the water and dipped a round stone bowl into it. She brought it to him. Eli looked at her, confused. She held the bowl closer. He took it with shaking hands and drank. The water was cool and clean. It felt like life itself was flowing back into him. The girl smiled. Without saying anything, she pulled out a leaf-wrapped bundle. Inside were small orange fruits. She held them out. Eli took one, bit into it. Sweet, like honey and sunlight. He looked at her again. "Thank you," he said softly. She didn't answer, but she nodded gently. Then she reached into a pouch at her side and pulled out something else, a small object. It looked like a crystal, but softer. It glowed faintly with a pale blue light, like it was breathing. She held it in both hands and offered it to him with quiet grace. Eli hesitated. "For me?" She nodded once. He smiled. "Well, thank you again." He reached out and took it. The moment his fingers touched it, the air changed. The girl closed her eyes. Her chest rose and fell deeply. Her lips moved, whispering something in her language. Her hands pressed together in front of her heart. Eli looked at the crystal. It felt warm in his hand, not hot, not cold, just right. He looked back at her. "What is it?" She opened her eyes slowly. Her face was calm, almost sad, but also peaceful. She turned and walked away, vanishing into the glowing forest. Eli called after her, "Wait, what is this thing?" No answer. He sat down in the glade, staring at the gift in his hand. The light inside it pulsed gently. He had no idea what he had just accepted. That night, he built a small fire near the stream. The stars above this planet were huge. They looked close enough to touch. Eli sat quietly, thinking about the girl. The way she looked at him, the way she moved, something about her felt important. Like this moment wasn't just chance. He looked at the glowing crystal again, still warm, still pulsing. He closed his eyes. From the trees, in the darkness beyond the firelight, something watched him. Not the girl, something else. A whisper passed between the leaves. He accepted. The bond is sealed. The wind moved, and the stars above seemed to flicker. The meaning of the gift. Eli woke up to soft light falling through the trees. The fire had gone cold, and the crystal still lay near his hand. It was glowing faintly, like it had a heartbeat. He rubbed his eyes and sat up slowly. The girl was gone. No footprints, no sound, just the peaceful silence of the glade. He stood and looked around. The forest was still, too still. He picked up the crystal and slipped it into the pocket of his jacket. Something about it made him feel calm, even though he didn't understand why. He followed a narrow path through the trees, hoping to find the girl again. He needed answers. After walking for an hour, he heard voices. Soft, musical, strange. He crouched low and moved toward the sound. Through the trees, he saw a small village. Dozens of alien people moved through it. Their bodies were graceful and tall, like the girls. Their clothes were woven from glowing fibers that shimmered with every step. Some carried water. Others tended to plants or shaped strange metal into tools. Eli stepped forward. They saw him. Everything. Stop. The people froze. Their eyes locked on him. Some looked confused. Others looked angry. Then a voice spoke. He is the one. An elder stepped forward. His skin was darker than the others, like polished stone. His eyes were deep gold. You carry the soul gift, he said slowly. Eli looked around. You speak my language? We know many tongues, the elder replied. The gift does that. Eli pulled the crystal from his pocket and held it up. This? The elder nodded. You accepted it from our princess. That means you have accepted her bond. Eli frowned. Her what? The bond of life, the bond of union. Eli blinked. You mean marriage? The elder nodded once, solemn and sure. That gift is sacred. When she gave it, she gave you her name, her soul, her future. And when you accepted it, you did the same. Eli laughed nervously. No, that's not what I meant. I didn't know. I just thought it was a thank you. A murmur ran through the crowd. She chose a stranger. She chose a human. She broke tradition. The elder raised his hand, silencing them. You may not have known, but the bond is sealed. I don't even know her name, Eli said. A soft voice answered behind him. Selah. He turned. She stood there, her silver blue skin glowing in the morning light. Her hair was tied in long strands down her back, decorated with tiny gems. Her eyes were calm but sad. My name is Selah. Eli stared at her. You should have told me. I tried, she said. But I knew if I explained, you might refuse. And once I choose, I cannot unchoose. He stepped closer. But why me? You didn't hurt me. You didn't demand anything. You drank what I gave, ate what I offered, and you smiled. That's all? She looked down. That's more. Kindness than I've known from anyone. Silence fell between them. The elder spoke again. You have two paths now, human. Stay and live among us as her bonded. Or leave and carry shame across the stars. The bond cannot be undone. If broken, it weakens both hearts. Eli looked at Selah. She wasn't begging. She wasn't crying. She was just standing there, quiet, strong, waiting. I never meant to cause trouble, he said. But trouble has come, another voice growled. A tall alien warrior stepped forward. His eyes burned with anger. His arms were thick with scars. A weapon hung from his side. She was promised to me. Varlak, the elder warned, but Varlak didn't stop. I trained for years. I fought the trials. And she gives her soul to a lost human who falls from the sky? Scylla stood firm. You wanted my name, not my heart. Varlak snarled. I will take back what is mine. Eli stepped in front of her without thinking. I didn't ask for any of this, he said, but I'm not afraid of you. Varlak's eyes narrowed. This is not over. He turned and walked away, his fists clenched. The villagers whispered among themselves. Selah stepped beside. Eli, you should leave while you can. Eli looked at her. Her face was calm again, but her eyes held a storm behind them. He shook his head. Not yet. I need to understand. She looked at him, surprised. Then come, she said softly. There is much you must see. They walked side by side through the village, and somewhere in the trees beyond, Varlak watched. His rage had just begun. The bond they can't break. The village was quiet that night. Too quiet. Eli sat inside a round stone hut lit by soft blue crystals on the walls. He could still feel the weight of the villagers' stares even though the door was closed. They hadn't spoken to him, not after Varlak's outburst. Not after Sela had chosen to walk beside him in front of them all. The crystal he carried pulsed on the table. It glowed gently like it was alive. He didn't understand how something so small could mean so much. Sela entered with a warm drink made from crushed roots and fruit. She placed it near him without saying a word. He looked up. "You knew they'd be angry," she nodded, "but I also knew you'd be strong enough to face it." He sipped the drink. It tasted bitter but gave a strange comfort. "I don't belong here, Sela. I'm not part of this world. I'm not even sure I understand yours." Sela sat across from him. Her eyes held sadness and fire at the same time. "You don't have to understand it all at once. The bond was never about knowing everything. It was about trust." Eli stared at the crystal again. "If I leave, what happens to you?" Her voice became soft. "The bond will weaken me. It may not kill me right away, but it will be like a slow sickness. My people believe hearts that are torn apart like that lose their song." He clenched his fist. He hadn't asked for this, but now it was his burden to. Suddenly, the door flew open. One of the villagers ran in, gasping for breath. "They're coming!" Varlak and his clan, armed. "They're demanding the human be handed over." Sela stood up at once. "No one touches him." Eli followed her outside. A group of elders and villagers had gathered in the center of the village. Across the field, shadows moved between the trees. Dozens of warriors approached with weapons that glowed. Reed Varlak stepped forward. His voice thundered. "This is your last chance. Hand him over, or we take him by force." The elder stepped between Varlak and Sela. "This village will not break the old laws. The bond is sacred. You know that. He is an outsider. The laws were never made for his kind." Varlak growled. Eli stepped forward. "I won't run. If he wants to fight me, let him try. But don't risk the village because of me." The elder turned to him. "This is not your fight alone. The moment you accepted the gift, your fate became our fate." Varlak raised his hand. "Then so be it." A flash of red light exploded behind him. One of the huts caught fire. Screams broke out. The attack had begun. Sela grabbed Eli's hand. "We have to run. Come with me." They ran through narrow forest paths behind the village. Her feet barely touched the ground. Eli struggled to keep up, but he didn't let go of her hand. They reached a quiet canyon lit by strange glowing vines. A small cave opened ahead. "We'll be safe here for now," she said. Eli collapsed against the cave wall, trying to catch his breath. This isn't how I thought today would end." Sela knelt beside him and placed her hand on his chest. "There's something else you need to know about the bond. It's not just spiritual. It's biological too." "What do you mean?" She hesitated. "If I feel pain, you'll feel it too. If I die, a part of you dies as well." He stared at her. "You mean we're physically connected?" "In a way, yes. It's how my people protected each other during wars. It made betrayal impossible. If one was harmed, both suffered." Eli leaned back in shock. His heart raced. This was deeper than he ever imagined. No wonder Varlak is furious. "He sees me as a threat to everything." Sela nodded. "But I don't regret giving you the gift." "I never have." Outside the cave, a distant roar echoed through the trees. Varlak was hunting them. Eli stood up. "Then we need to stop running. We need to fight back." Sela looked at him with wide eyes. "You do that for me." He met her gaze. "No, I do that for us." In that moment, the bond between them felt stronger. Not because of the gift, but because of the choice. Hunted by her own kind. The forest was no longer peaceful. Every branch felt like a warning. Every shadow moved like it was watching. Eli and Sela moved silently through the undergrowth. Her steps were light. His boots snapped twigs. No matter how carefully he walked, she stopped suddenly and raised her hand. He froze. She tilted her head. "They're close. I hear 2, maybe 3. They're fanning out." Eli scanned the trees. You? Sure, we can't just talk to them. Sela gave a bitter smile. They don't come to talk. They come to take me back. And to kill you. The moment she said that, a sharp sound pierced the air. A spear flew past Eli's shoulder and stuck into a tree behind him. Eli ducked. Sela grabbed his wrist and pulled him down into a stream. They slid into the cold water and let the current carry them under the thick roots of an old tree. The world above became distant. Just the sound of rushing water and their shallow breaths when they crawled out downstream, drenched and shaking. Sela pulled something from under her belt. A smooth black stone. She pressed it against a thick tree. A hidden compartment opened. Inside were 2 silver orbs and a small curved blade. Eli raised an eyebrow. You've done this before. I was trained to disappear. Every princess is, just in case the day comes when she has to stop being one. She handed him one of the silver orbs. Throw this if they get too close. It explodes into light and sound. Won't hurt them, but it'll give us time to run. Eli took it. Why did you hide? All this in the forest. I was never meant to stay in the village forever. My father believed one day I'd need to run, not from enemies. From my own people. Her voice cracked slightly, but she kept walking. They climbed up a rocky hill where the air was thinner. The trees thinned out and strange glowing flowers opened. Under moonlight. Eli stopped to catch his breath. How far will they chase us? Sela looked at the sky until Varlak stops breathing. Or until you do. That's comforting. She looked at him seriously. I can go on alone. You still have a chance to escape. They might let you live if I surrender. He shook his head. No, that's not how I do things. I'm not leaving you, Sela's eyes softened. She stepped closer. Even if it costs you your life. He looked into her violet eyes. Especially then. They stood there for a moment, silent. The air between them growing heavier. Not from fear. From something else than a sound. Tore the air behind them. A growl, metal sliding. Footsteps in the dark. They ran over the hill. Through sharp branches. Across narrow bridges made of tangled roots. Voices followed. Commands in Sela's language. Orders to capture. Orders to kill if needed. Eli felt a sting in his side. A burn? He stumbled. Sela caught him before he fell. Arrow graze. You'll live. But you'll feel weak. He gritted his teeth. You'll feel it too, won't you? She nodded. But I felt worse. They found a small cave high in the cliffs. Inside were old carvings, symbols of her people, telling stories of war, of forbidden love, of sacrifice. This place is sacred, Sela whispered. Even the hunters won't follow us here. Not tonight. Eli leaned against the wall and closed. His eyes, his whole body hurt, but his heart was steady. You said the bond links our pain, our lives. Does it also link our strength? Sela looked at him. No one ever asked that before. He smiled. Maybe we find out. She sat beside him. Her shoulder touched his. The crystal between them pulsed softly, warm, steady, like it believed in them even if the world didn't. Sela whispered, you didn't ask for this. But you stayed. You fought. That means something to me. He looked at her. It means something to me too. Outside, the forest was still. But far away, in a tent lit by warfire, Varlak stared into a map. His voice was low, cold, focused. They've gone into the sacred place. Tomorrow we tear down everything sacred. For her, for honor, for revenge. His world, her fight, the sacred cave smelled of dust and old memories. Eli woke before the sun rose. His wound burned slightly, but it wasn't bleeding. He looked beside him. Sela was already awake, sitting near the wall, tracing symbols with her finger. The carvings glowed faintly under her touch. They tell stories, she said softly, of those who loved against the rules. Most ended in silence. Or war. Eli pulled his jacket tighter. Then maybe it's time for a different ending. Scylla looked at him with something new in her eyes. Not just hope, something deeper. Like belief, we can't hide forever, she said. Varlek will break the sacred law. I feel it. I feel him moving closer, Eli nodded. Then we don't hide. We fight back, but not with swords. With what I know best. Scylla raised an eyebrow. And what is that? Human thinking, he said. Survival tactics, pressure, traps, tricks. My world didn't teach me magic. It taught me how to win ugly, she smiled. I like ugly wins. He stood up, limping slightly but determined. There's a ridge near the edge of this forest. If we reach it before they do, I can set something up. If I can get to that beacon I saw earlier, I can call for help. Maybe even warn others about this planet before Varlek causes more damage. Scylla stood beside him. I'll guide you. But there's a risk. That beacon. It sits in the middle of the old battlefield. No cover. If they see us first, we won't make it. Eli looked at her. Then we make sure they don't. They move through the early mist, quiet as ghosts. Scylla knew every path, every weak tree, every loose stone that could give away their steps. They reached the ridge by midday. The wind was stronger here. It carried voices from far below, shouts, orders. Varlek's army was spreading out. Eli studied the ground. This slope is narrow. If they charge up this way, they'll have to come in single file. I can work with that. Scylla handed him one of the silver orbs, light and sound only. We don't kill unless we have to. He looked at her. I don't kill for sport. Only when someone leaves me no choice. They set up quick traps with vines, sharp sticks, and distraction lures. It wasn't high-tech, but it didn't have to be. It just had to slow them down. As night fell, the sky turned red. Fires burned in the distance. Varlek was close. Eli took a deep breath. You sure about this? Scylla stepped forward and pressed her forehead to his. Our bond means we rise together, or we fall together. I'm sure. Suddenly, a loud sound shook the ridge. Varlek's voice echoed through the trees. You hide behind a woman, human. Come down and face me. Eli stepped up to the edge. I'm not hiding. I'm standing with her. You want to fight? You found one. A spear flew toward him. Scylla deflected it with a sudden blast of light from her palm. It wasn't magic. It was a pulse weapon, hidden in her bracelet. Eli grinned. You really were holding back. Only until now, she said. Varlek charged up the slope with 5 warriors behind him. The first trap exploded with sound. The second released a flash so bright they staggered. Eli threw one of the silver orbs into their path. The ground shook. Dust filled the air, but still, they came close. Scylla stepped forward, her hands raised. I never wanted this, she shouted. But I won't let you take what's not yours. Not my will. Not my choice. Not him. Varlek's rage grew darker. You betrayed your kind. For what? A broken creature from another sky. Eli stepped beside her. She didn't betray anyone. She just made her own decision. And you can't handle that. Varlek roared and lunged. Scylla moved faster. She spun, hit him with a low pulse, and Eli tackled one of the warriors trying to flank them. His fists were slower than theirs, but his will was stronger. Together they pushed them back. The ridge held. Varlek fell to one knee, panting. This isn't over. Scylla raised her hand, her voice sharp and clear. No, but your hold on me is Varlek's own warriors hesitated. One of them dropped his weapon. Another turned and ran. Even they knew it. The bond had chosen, and the old ways were dying. The battle of blood and vows. The sky cracked with thunder as the war drum started to beat. The ridge was quiet now, but Eli could feel the storm coming. He stood beside Scylla, both of them covered in dirt and sweat. Their eyes were locked on the path ahead. Behind them, a few villagers had arrived, those brave enough to stand against Varlak. Their weapons were simple. Their hearts were not Scylla. Looked across the trees. Varlak will come with everything this time. No more warnings. No more speeches. He wants to break us in front of everyone. Eli checked the traps they had left. Most were already triggered. They wouldn't hold again. We make our stand here, he said, but we do it smart. No running. No hiding. We fight with our story. Scylla turned toward him. What story? The one where love isn't weakness. Where choosing each other is stronger than fear. For a moment, she just looked at him. No fear in her face. Only fire. Then she nodded from the trees. A war horn scream at Varlak stepped out, armor shining with blood symbols. His army followed, twice as many as before. Some wore masks. Others painted their faces black. They chanted Scylla's name like it. Was a curse. Eli stepped forward. This ends now. You want me. Here I am. Varlak raised his blade. You are nothing but a shadow beside her. But today I will erase that shadow forever. Scylla walked to Eli's side. Then you will have to erase. Me too. Gasps rose from both sides. The villagers who had followed Varlak hesitated. Some looked away. Others clutched their weapons tighter. Eli pulled out the glowing crystal she had given him on the first day. He held it high. This gift started it. I didn't understand it then. But I do now. It wasn't just a token. It was a vow. And I accept it. With full heart. With full choice, the crystal glowed brighter. Scylla placed her hand over his. With this I bind myself to him. Not because of ancient law, but because I want to, before all of you. I choose him. For a moment, no one moved, then Varlak let out a scream and charged the battlefield. Exploded. Scylla fired her pulse weapon at the ground, throwing dust into the air. Eli tackled one of the warriors who lunged at her. A blast hit the ridge behind them, shaking the stone. Chaos broke loose. Villagers clashed with Varlak's soldiers. Cries filled the air. Smoke rose into the sky. Eli moved like instinct. Duck. Punch. Grab. Throw. Scylla covered him from behind, blocking arrows and sending shockwaves into the attackers. Every time he was hit, she winced. Every time she stumbled, he felt it in his chest. Their bond wasn't just spiritual now. It was war-ferged. Varlak pushed through the crowd, his blade swinging wild. He reached Eli and struck. Eli blocked with his arm, pain shooting up to his shoulder. He gritted his teeth. Varlak swung again, roaring, "You are not worthy of her." Eli caught the blade with both hands. I don't have to be worthy. I just have to be willing to stand. Scylla moved in from the side. She struck Varlak in the chest with a blast of energy. He flew backward, crashing into the rocks. The field went quiet. The battle slowed. Varlak tried to stand. Blood dripped from his mouth. Scylla stepped toward him, voice steady. This is over. You fought for power. We fought for choice. And the people saw it. She turned to the warriors still holding weapons. You followed a tradition built on fear. But fear does not make a future. We will not follow you anymore. Slowly, one by one. The soldiers dropped their weapons. The drums stopped. The forest went still. Eli stood beside Scylla. Breathing hard, she looked up at him. You still with me? He smiled. Always in front of the remaining villagers. Scylla raised the crystal again. Let it be known. The bond is no longer hidden. It is honored. I chose him. And he chose me. The people bowed their heads, not in fear and respect. The battle was won. But the world had changed, not because of blood, but because of a vow. The human who chose love. The fires from the battle had cooled. Smoke still drifted above the ridge. But the sounds of war were gone. Only birds returned now, curious and free. Eli stood on the edge of the hill, looking over the valley below. Villagers moved slowly through the ruins, helping each other, building again. No one looked at him with fear anymore. No more whispers. No more threats. They bowed when they passed him, not because he was powerful, but because he stayed. Scylla walked up beside him, her hair pulled back, her wounds bandaged. She carried the crystal in her hand, now glowing brighter than ever before. The bond is complete, she said. Eli looked at her. I thought it was already complete the moment I took it. It was alive, she replied. But now it has roots. It can grow. It belongs to both of us now, he smiled. I never thought I'd crash into a planet and leave with a wife. She smiled back. I never thought I'd give my soul to a man who didn't even know what the gift meant. They laughed, but it wasn't the laugh of people escaping pain. It was the laugh of two people who had built something from it. Later that evening, a gathering formed near the sacred stone circle. Elders, children, warriors, even those who had once followed Varlock stood among the crowd. Scylla and Eli stood at the center. The elder raised his hand. We come not to witness a marriage that has already been done in spirit, in battle, in choice. We come to accept what is new. He turned to Eli. You did not ask for our trust, but you earned it. You did not speak our language, but you spoke our values. Then he turned to Scylla. You were born to lead, but you chose to love. And in doing so, you showed us a strength we had forgotten. He stepped back. Scylla took Eli's hand and faced the people. This bond is not just between us. It is a bridge between skyborn and earthborn, between old ways and new hope. I will not rule alone. He stands with me, not above, not behind. Beside. The crowd bowed in unison. Eli leaned toward her and whispered, I'm not much for speeches, but that was incredible. She grinned. Good, because you're about to give one. What? She stepped aside. Eli cleared his throat, looked at the faces watching him. For a second, he felt like the outsider again. Then he saw the crystal in her hand. Their crystal. He took a deep breath. I came here by accident. I was broken, alone, lost. But this place gave me something I didn't know I was looking for. A second chance. A reason to fight. And someone worth fighting for. He paused. Where I come from, love is often taken for granted. Here, it's sacred. I didn't understand that, but now I do. I'm not leaving. This is my home now. Because she is my home. Scylla reached into her robe and pulled out a small ring. It's not our tradition. But I thought, maybe we make a new one. He took the ring and placed it gently on her finger. It means I'm yours. Where I come from, she pressed her forehead against his. And you were mine from the moment you drank from my hands. As night fell, lanterns floated into the sky. Each one carried a wish, a hope. A vow. Eli and Scylla stood together, wrapped in soft cloth and soft silence. Behind them, a people rebuilt. Before them, a future unknown, but they would face it together, hand in hand, bonded not by fate *, but by choice.